The Fiore Temple, Mission 10. Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon Ranger. Kyle, this is it. Yeah, we're almost done. Oh, hi there. You chased us all the way here, that's persistence for you. You should put that persistence to good use in your studies, gaming, or even romance. Okay, I'm locking up. Wait, hold it, Go Rock Squad. Oh, great. We can't go on unless we get these doors open. Oh, wait, look, these doors are marked with a flame logo. Maybe we're supposed to get a fire group Pokemon to open them for us? But it's a level 3, too. But I don't see any Pokemon around here. Does it mean we have to go back? Oh, hello again, old friend. Kyle, isn't this Charizard the one you saved in the Jungle Relic? Indeed it is. Thanks, buddy. I'll never forget you. Charizard, thank you. It's repaying you, Kyle. Yep. Welcome to the final dungeon of the main story. There are a lot of Pokemon here, not all necessarily new, though. But there is an active mechanic here you have to keep in mind. But first, time for new Pokemon. Oh god, my knees. Time for Donphan. Donphan, as you can tell based off the attack in the overworld, focuses on doing a rolling charge at the capture line and disc should it see it or have it periodically appeared anyway. Its movement speed isn't so much an issue, it's the regularity of its attacks. Also, if you fail a capture, particularly if it bursts out of the bubble after you fail, it also automatically usually follows up with a short-range tackle attack, so if you're trying to capture immediately after failing, you're gonna take a dumb hit, so be careful. With that said, it's a pretty good Pokemon to have around here for some Poke assists, because ground's pretty useful around here. Donphan rolls its body into a ball to charge. Its crash can shake things up. Getting around this area is a whole bunch of climbing stairs up on either extreme side of the area, and then jumping off the little ledges to find higher ledges that you can then walk around to other staircases to climb towards the top on it. It's not a very large or complex area. I'd say by and large every other dungeon in the game, and even sub-areas like the Secra Mountain ranges are more complicated to navigate yourself through on a first time. The big thing is our goal here. Our goal is to get towards the peak of the temple, which is on the center top of the screen. But we're gonna need to find some other things along the way. More on that in a few moments though, because I don't think I start looking for those until I actively am told to. Although, gee, I wonder what that was right then. Nah, I'm sure it was nothing. With that said, because you can easily avoid most of the encounters around here, I do actively recommend trying to fight as many as you can for extra experience, of course. But also just to build up a small inventory of Poke assists to help you moving forward. Particularly anything that's water-based, anything that can stun enemies, or especially Styler energy recharges. That is super important. Not very important though, even though we have to capture it for the full browser, is Swalot. Swalot's large and pukes a giant puddle of sludge. It does it pretty regularly. I love the sprite whenever it pukes it out because there's something about that that's adorably funny to me. But otherwise, not a lot to write home about. When Swalot cries and opens its mouth wide, it spits up a huge volume of poison. You also can find one of my favorite Pokemon in the entire series here, good old Gengar. Gengar is tricky in that he teleports like other ghost Pokemon have, like Ghastly, of course. But when it reforms, it has two clones. The clones disappear in a single loop. The real one doesn't, so it's a matter of finding the real one by either looping them all in one giant circle or looping around the clones until you find the right one. Beware, Gengar abducts your Pokemon. It makes copies of itself to attack. Yeah, similarly to Ghastly, Gengar can also abduct friend Pokemon from behind you, which can be kind of bad in this area because we're actively going through this corridor to grab a specific Pokemon at the end of it, barring other Pokemon along the way, like Umbreon. Umbreon by and large attacks the same way that Murkrow did several parts back, where it spreads a giant haze around itself that can damage the capture disc outright while it's attacking, but otherwise is there to obstruct your vision, which admittedly is an attack that mattered a lot more on the original DS and DS Lite than it did anything after the fact. Because the DSi's bigger screens in my memory, it might have had smaller screens overall, or the 3DS's larger res screens make that attack a lot less effective. Umbreon is not only quick, it reduces visibility to make capture difficult. And you may have noticed while we were wandering around, just across the way in this room is its cousin from Gen 2. Good ol' Espeon. Another one of my favorites. Espeon's main attack is a purple Hyper Beam. It is very slow, it does a lot of damage, but it's so slow that it's very easy to capture because of it, because it's so telegraphed. Espeon attacks with a ray that emits from its glowing red forehead. So you may have noticed something thus far in this area. We've seen another one of them, but this is the first time we've seen the evolutions in the entire game. There might be a reason for that. No, my Ariados! Oh well, not a big loss. Our main reason for coming here is over here. The next evolution, Flareon. Back before it was any kind of really usable because of the physical special split. In some regards though, Flareon is the most dangerous evolution of the 5 in the game, if only because its attack is large and it does big damage. It is a gigantic fire-type Hyper Beam that it fires multiple times in a row. You need something that can either stun the Flareon for long enough for you to capture it, like a good Water Poke Assist, or to just be very fast. Also, you may have caught what the browser entry said there, and it's kind of a hint for what we're doing here. Because Flareon is a key to the Fiore Temple's mystery. It attacks with its fiery breath. What's this mystery? We'll find out right about now, actually. Another set of doors? How are we supposed to get these open? There's something engraved on the stone tablet. Whence upon the sacred pedestals are placed the chosen Pokemon, the path shall be thrown wide. This must be a hint for opening those doors. Whoa, that gave me a jolt. The sacred pedestals that the stone tablet mentioned, are they these things? If you investigate these tablets, a blue Pokemon on 4 legs clicked by the power of water, a yellow Pokemon on 4 legs clicked by the power of electricity, and a red one on 4 legs clicked by the power of fire. Place the Flareon on the pedestal, yes. It went onto the pedestal by itself as if something were leading it. It looks like your deductions were on the money, Kyle. Okay, 2 more to go. We're looking for the Gen 1 Evolution Trinity to put on those platforms in order to get past it. And thankfully, we already saw Jolteon earlier. Out of all the evolutions, similarly to Gen 1, Jolteon is definitely the fastest. And its attack can be kind of dangerous because of it, because it's a very fast, very weak version of the Hyper Beam of sorts. It's just a lightning bolt out of the Jolteon's face. It doesn't take a lot of loops to capture, but due to its speed, it's enough loops that it can be a bit of a problem at lower HPs or if you don't have certain types of Poke Assists with you. I say using basically all of the wrong type of Poke Assists against it. Honestly, in my memory, it wasn't 7 loops needed. I thought it was like 3. Huh, maybe this is more of a problem than I thought. This is why I recommended getting the Dawn Fan, though, by the way. Because it keeps that thing in place. 2 down, 1 to go. Jolteon is a key to the Fiore Temple's mystery. It attacks with Thunderbolts. And now for honestly the hardest one of the 3 to find. Because you always see the Jolteon along the way to the exit no matter what, and Flareon's in the obvious staircase. Vaporeon actively takes a little bit of finding because it moves around at a rate where you might completely miss it when you walk past it. Because it's on that platform there to the left. Down below me right now. It just likes to hide over here in this corner. Vaporeon can be annoying in one regard because appropriate for its tankiness in the main games, it does take a lot of loops to capture. 15, which is more than even a lot of the bosses in the game. Thankfully, because you always have a Plusle and Minun with you, you're gonna be fine. Its main attack is the usual Aurora Beam type thing. Vaporeon is a key to Fiore Temple's mystery. It attacks with a Rainbow Ray. which I guess actually directly means it actively uses Aurora Beam now that I think about it. Alright, let's get these two Pokemon onto the pedestal. Pedestals, I guess. Also, it's a very minor thing that I haven't really mentioned, but I really do like the popping sound effect that happens whenever you actively complete a capture. It's just very satisfying. There's something very similar to those in the Trails games, actually, whenever you defeat enemies in, like, the Cold Steel games on. There's the pop sound effect they make when they actively finish their death animation. Satisfying. Whence upon the sacred pedestals are placed the chosen Pokemon, the path will be thrown wide. Let's go, Kyle. But first, I'm gonna go around the area and grab a very particular set of Pokemon, because I want to be prepared for everything that's coming up at the end game. You're gonna want something that's a ground type, a ghost type to potentially help you out, a water type especially, some Styler rechargers, and I have the other two evolutions more so for appropriateness than anything. I actually would rather recommend, instead of getting the Umbreon with you, have a second Gengar instead. That will ultimately be better for you than the dark type Poke Assist, unless you're at a very low level and thus don't have a lot of line length to you. Here we go, though, the final charge. There is a save point just below me right now, by the way, that I go back to several times, so I recommend using that right now. All you Rangers go on and on about Pokemon feelings. If you ask me, Pokemon have only 3 feelings: hungry, not hungry, and angry. Angry indeed. The Linoons this particular Go Rock Squad Elite throws at you are honestly kind of a mess to deal with because they are fast, but I think they move in a set amount before just stopping somewhere in the screen. You really want to try and either get some extra loops around them to get your Minun charged up, or to use something like the Espeon to completely stun them in place and then loop around them from there. I also should note, I did fill up my Plusle and Minun gauge, the partner gauge, during that same jump cut, and I recommend doing that between each of these fights. Linoon moves quickly, but only in a line. If it stops, it'll try to change direction. At last, so it's not really up to me to say it, but you and Pokemon seem to connect emotionally. No. Yeah, down here is the boss fight, and between some of these, I am both refilling my Plusle and Minun partner gauge, or I'm going back to grab Pokemon I just used, particularly the Vaporeon in several cases. The Go Rock Squad's undiscovered star, that's me. By all rights, I should be a commander by now. Let me demonstrate my prowess. All the Gen 2 middle evolution for the starters. We've seen Quilava and Croconaw before, but Bayleaf here is a new contender. Bayleaf doesn't move too quickly, but it's annoying in that it throws its Razor Leaf several times in a row, with enough space between them to maybe have you get a good free shot in there with a loop. But when you interplay that with the size of the puddles the Croconaw leaves behind, or the shockwaves that the Quilava throws out, this fight can be rough, and it's one of the reasons why I recommend refilling your partner gauge between each of these if you don't have Poke Assists saved up. I do recommend going after them in the order of Quilava, Croconaw, and Bayleaf as well, by the way, because I think that's not only the loop number from lowest to highest, but also it just feels the best. Bayleaf shoots its leaves at full force. They can obliterate a metal fence. You've got nothing to do with things, but do you have the time to listen to me whine? When it comes right down to it, the boss only cares about his kids. If you're not related to the boss, you can only go so high in position. I'm getting sick of it all. That is weirdly relatable. I've heard rumors about you, but I didn't honestly think you'd make it this far. I'll admit to being impressed by your gutsy determination. Don't ever forget the sense of no surrender that brought you here, even when you grow older. Of course, I'll also show you that it's sometimes better to give up than to suffer futility. We've seen a Blaziken before, but Blastoise is a new contender here. And get this, being the giant turtle, it's got a lot of health. Its main attack, though, is a Water Elemental Hyper Beam. I forget the actual name that's supposed to be. It's probably actually Hydro Pump now that I think about it. 16 loops is a lot. It's at this point in the game where the numbers just start to feel a little unsatisfying and ridiculous, and that frustration factor I've mentioned a couple times really starts to set in. This fight can be made pretty easy in comparison if you charge up Minun, admittedly, because it is very vulnerable to that, but even then, a fully charged Plusle and Minun use probably will only barely get you to the end of it, and this is a case where you can easily have that thing happen, where you capture them, but then it doesn't register all the way. Blastoise attacks by forcefully blasting streams of water. Also, take out the Blaziken as soon as you can. How could you work so hard just for the sake of some Pokemon? Pokemon are just tools. They're disposable for our benefit. Looks like the boss is ready. Why don't you just go see exactly how powerful the Go Rock Squad is? Indeed. Do a stock up on Pokésys if you used a lot, go and save, heal up if you have to, get your partner gauge back up to max. Because now all that's left is us and Gordor. These stairs will take us to the temple summit. We finally cornered Gordor, the Go Rock Squad's boss. Kyle, are you ready for this? This is the point of no return. Make sure you're ready. Let's go. But with that, I'm gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 17, we finish the main story. See you guys then.